Open sesame. Endless riddles. Nothing but a void. Time to twirl! This big diamond! It's all yours! Expand your thinking. Glimpse the unknown.
All in. Bust. Or maybe I'll take it all. Watch your head.
Time to twirl!
All in.
Time to twirl! Endless riddles. Nothing but a void.
Reach the end of the story in your own way.
Really now? This is way more trouble than I could have asked for. Or you could sit back and watch. I'm kidding, Danny. Lend me a hand, pretty please. All right, now let's get him.
No dirty tricks, alright? Watch your head.
Open sesame. Time to twirl! Time to twirl! This big diamond! It's all yours! Feeling bold?
All in. Bust. Or maybe I'll take it all. Watch your head.
The Black Tide is remarkably quick to detect the light of Amphoreus. So or rather, the blessings of the Sky Priest in me, might have unknowingly called them to me. Anyway, never mind that for now. Here, you might want to have a look at this. I found it around here and thought it might be of interest to you. This is new. I didn't know Professor Anaxa was researching this guy. He's never mentioned anything about it. Might is an understatement. Anaxa has never been one to venerate the gods, nor has he ever found it within himself to put any faith in the prophecy. People have come to think of him as a heretic, even in a place as liberal as the Grove. Yet, it is also this very Blasphemer that Circe favors. Fate sure works in mysterious ways. Oh, let me have a look. By the looks of them, these scrolls are records of two conversations that took place in the same setting, one after the other. Sure, go ahead. The Grove of Epiphany is home to 7 schools of thought. While all 7 schools are founded on the ideologies of Thalesis, the first scholar, each is unique in its own way. Among them, the Venerationists revere and worship the Titans the most. As the sage of the Venerationists, Euthyphro has always been at loggerheads with Anaxa. If we were to place the 7 sages on the scales of Tilanton, Anaxa and Euthyphro would be placed on opposite sides to achieve balance. Nearly everyone in Amphoreus has heard the story of the skyships by now. Aquila's stature is loftier than the heavens, and their divine retribution is merciless. That's why it's no use building giant skyfaring ships. Oh, but I do wonder if a supercharged mini treaty cannon could slip past their watch. Newsporus primarily study the application of alchemy in soul repair. Everyone considers Anaxa a blasphemer, but that has never stopped him from sharing his ideas, no matter how taboo. If you must say that he's hiding something, then it's likely what lies beneath his eye patch. Anaxa often says that every failure brings us one step closer to the truth. Perhaps, to him, the crash of the skyship carries a different interpretation. The firmament is not impenetrable. On the contrary, it was precisely because the skyship represented the first step toward breaking free from the shackles of the earth that it provoked the wrath of the Sky Titan and brought divine punishment upon itself. It's a shame that the majority of the Grove's research on Aquila was headed by the Venerationists, with sacrificial rituals making up a predominant part of their findings. Discourse about more esoteric subject matters in relation to Aquila dwindled even further after the skyship incident. So much so that even this scroll is completely new to me. That's what I'd like to know. What are these experiments he's involved in? Even I, the assistant lecturer, know next to nothing about them. I have a bad feeling about this. Could there be more to what happened at the Grove?
Nothing but a void. Time to twirl! Open sesame. What a chrono. Time to twirl!
Spend freely.
This is the Library of Philia, a place where the Grove stores its collection of tomes. Other than books written by the 7 schools, you can also find philosophical texts, ballads, and religious writings from the Outlands here. Cities that desire to learn from the Grove were apparently expected to contribute knowledge of equal value to what they sought. We've had more than our fair share of hilarious episodes over the years. For instance, it's said that the Erythrocheramists once borrowed a manuscript from a certain author, but ended up returning a copy instead of the original. What's more, the original manuscript was supposedly then hidden here. Nice? No need to hold yourself back, Danny. You can just tell it like it is. Their behavior was no different from bandits. Whew, you've got me there. Some said you couldn't even find a dictionary in Castrum Kremnos, so I guess they were spared. There are too many books in the Library of Philia. Flipping through them all will take too long. Why don't we use the Biblioslate to search for the texts we need? We can bring them back to Akama for reading after that. In here. Whoa. Are these all complaints about him? I can already see what they must have written. Anaxa has no respect for the gods. His very existence undermines order in our society. They're probably all things like that. Why else would they call him the Great Performer? When Anaxer established his school of thought, the first thing he apparently did was read his own work to everyone. Are the Titans truly an accurate reflection of what humans think gods should be? Worlds created by gods are indubitably perfect, but what of Amphoreus? Only foolishness and insensitivity everywhere you turn. They marched him straight to the seat of judgment before he could finish. Though what he took on in the end was more of a debate than an actual trial. He had to address every one of the scholar's allegations, or face expulsion from the Grove. The first allegation was... Do you agree that since the Titans created the heavens and earth, so the mountains, rivers, and seas must likewise be their creations? Anaxa would have probably been spared a lot of trouble if he had answered this way. Instead, he quoted past instances of the Flame Chase journey and posited that humans have the potential to take over the divinity of Titans. Needless to say, his critics didn't take kindly to his answer, so they followed up with a second allegation. You claim to be studying souls, yet you are, in fact, defiling them and committing acts condemned by the gods. Do you admit it? Anaxa always wears an eye patch, never removing it, even when alone. Some say he used one of his eyes as an alchemical ingredient. Every being in the world owes their safekeeping to Kifili, and this is even more so for the Chrysos heirs who have divine blood coursing through them. If he has really done something of that nature, then it'd indeed be sacrilegious. Thankfully, they had no way to prove it, so it amounted to nothing more than an allegation in the end. One by one, Anaxa engaged in wars of words against those who would challenge him. Toward the end, a scholar asked him, Anaxagoras, have you any respect for the gods? It was only after a brief silence that he answered, I have never denied that Titans are meant to be noble constructs. Yes, I'm not sure how that controversy was eventually resolved. But what's for certain, at least, is that Anaxa was allowed to stay in the Grove where he continued his research, despite being regarded as a heretic. By the way, this stack of complaint letters has reminded me of a place in the Grove. We may find clues there that aren't on the teleslate. I'm talking about Anaxa's alchemy lab, hidden between the cornerstones. It's a well-kept secret. Among the 7 sages, excluding the nominal chief sage, each has a private sanctuary where they can conduct research undisturbed in their free time. Even the administrators of the Library of Philia are restricted from accessing those places and documenting the sage's research. But with the Grove in this state, I'm sure Anaxa won't be mad even if we sneak into the lab for a short while, right? where is everything? Materials for alchemical experiments, matrix diagrams, and even the seal to the lab. They're all gone. Did the black tide destroy it all? No, not even close. Not only are alchemy experiments high-risk activities, but Professor Anaxa also has a penchant for using bizarre materials. Students often saw him walk in looking right as rain, but come out covered in soap with his hair singed. Naturally, no one dared to come near this place. Huh? That bookshelf over there seems to be the only thing still intact. What's going on? Anaxa is conducting research on our friends in Alchema and... me? It wouldn't have been so strange if he had focused only on Cassie, given her own curiosity about her origins. Plus, considering that the new sporists have crafted omnipotent medicines capable of curing diseases, it also makes sense that he would conduct research on immortal Chrysos heirs. But now, it seems Anaxa's objective was never to create medicine, but to identify the origin of the golden blood and figure out its inner workings. This. I have a bad feeling about this. My biggest fear. It's come true. After going through his notes, I think I can piece it all together now. Anaxa was carrying out experiments on soul transmutation. Yes, this is what he was secretly conducting research on. Something he had to keep hidden from others. compared to his public speeches, this is the real blasphemy. Oh, I just thought of something. Do you remember when the black tide was approaching? The Grove had planned to send Circe's core flame to a safe place. But an accident happened along the way, and Anaxa lost his life in the process? That's right. But what if Professor Anaxa's fusion with the core flame of reason wasn't an accident? Put yourself in his shoes. Knowing that the black tide was closing in and your time was running out, what would you have done? Exactly. When the black tide came, the true reason Anaxa headed to the Luminary Throne was to transmute and fuse himself with the Titan's core flame. No. Judging from how he reacted after the event, the results came as a surprise. Maybe he failed to consider the possibility that Circe's would make a similar decision. The manuscripts detailing all the alchemical formulae have been taken away. His research is still ongoing. Like what? There's only one Titan left in the world now. No. No way. He's after Kefali.
Sir, this sky above us, it's not real, is it?
Of course not. This is just an image from a projection device used for educational purposes. A simple trick. The day-night cycle has been lost to this world, so that students like you may still learn about the night sky. Astronomers have harnessed the Titan's miraculous power to manipulate the light, projecting the nights of the past here for you. Much like how the sky above the Holy City is also illuminated by Kefali's dawn device.
So, the skies of Akama are fake too.
You mustn't conclude that, Anaxa. You should know that only a child would expose a trick and be proud of it. Often people know more than they let on. They simply choose to feign ignorance because they have no other choice.
Then they're just deluding themselves. People believe in Kefali's tale of Genesis, accepting wholesale whatever the priests preach. But we're different. We've already walked out of the firelit cave of ignorance. We have already realized that we live in a world where Titans make the rules. Even when we look at the sky, we're only seeing what they allow us to see. Rather than gazing at this mockery of a night sky fabricated by them for the rest of my life, why shouldn't I be the one to take control of the projection device instead?
So much time has passed since you sowed the seeds of doubt in my heart, child. Many a night, I find myself penning down all my theories and wild ideas, only to burn them to ashes when I open my eyes in the day.
Why? Because we'll face death by burning if word gets out?
As a sage of the Venerationists, my soul has already become inextricably linked to the great tree. Every word I say and every move I make is certain to influence every leaf, every branch, even the tree itself. But above all else, my days are numbered. Instinctively, I have my doubts about the golden blood and the human soul, yet I have no means of verifying them. The golden blood in my veins is woefully thin, and I am loath to waste what little time I have left obsessing over a hypothesis that cannot even be proven in the first place.
But I can, sir. I can do it for us. The time is right. Give me all that I need, and I shall accomplish this grand feat on your behalf.
You're right. I shall do just that. In the next meeting of the sages, I will spare no efforts fighting for the rights you deserve. Go. Establish your own school of thought. Find out what we are. Become the one who conquers the ultimate truths of the world.
Child of humanity. You didn't go to such lengths for an audience with Kefali. Just ask him a few questions, did you?
So, you figured it out. If I were as foolish as a Dromus, perhaps I'd throw myself down and prostrate before their greatness, begging for the gods' prophetic wisdom. Well, sorry to disappoint, but I'm no Dromus. Alas, I am a human, standing tall on 2 feet, possessing both intellect and pride.
Before such power, does it make any difference whether you're a human or a Dromus?
I'm sure you're familiar with the story of the Styxians. When the raging waves threatened to swallow them, they didn't just give up and become sitting ducks. No. They constructed a dam that kept the roaring tide at bay, chaining down the mad Fagusa. They call me a blasphemer, Circes. But that doesn't mean I deny the existence of gods. It's just, as I see it, Titans are simply a force that mankind has yet to find a way to tame.
Oh? If power that rivals the Titans is what you crave, why not conform to the prophecy and brave the trial?
Why stop at harnessing the power of the Titans when I can do so much more? The source of life is what I wish to grasp, to understand what makes up the soul, and to learn what we really are. Thanks to you, I've had the chance to personally verify, in more ways than one, that the soul indeed ceases to exist in death. But where there is death, there is life. And where there is an end, there must also be a beginning. How then is a soul born? That was the only unknown variable left in my calculations.
And by the sound of it, you have already formed a conjecture.
No, I have already drawn a conclusion. In my journey unto death just now, I finally saw the answer with my own eyes.
Professor Anaxa, I'm here. His life hangs by a thread. I must ask you to refrain from taking any unnecessary steps.
Of course. I'll bring this to a conclusive end, and give you the answer you so desire. However, in accordance with the principle of equivalent exchange, I must also demand from you what I need.
As you wish.
Don't you care to know what the price might be?
It's a matter of uncovering the truth about the Death Titan and his survival. This may be the only time I can ever save someone's life. There is no need for me to think twice.
I see. In that case, let the show begin.
Indulge me. Am I correct to say that you intend to prove Thanatos' whereabouts and prove the nature of our existence now?
Before I begin, I must confess I had been stuck in a cognitive trap all this time. As unrelated as these two propositions may seem at first glance, they are in fact logical equivalents. They are merely two different ways of telling us about what the soul is at its core. The reason I say this is as I've mentioned earlier. The answer was hidden in my journey unto death.
Anaxa, you were in the Netherrealm?
Yes, I am but a living dead man now, but that's not important. What truly matters is, I overheard a conversation between heroes. That's not all. Remember how I said you were a part of that conversation too, Circes?
And I've told you that I have no recollection of such an event. That was likely just an illusion conjured up by the mind of a dying man.
Of course you would remember. Because that wasn't you. That was Calypso, one of the 7 sages of the Grove.
Calypso?
That's the name I made up on a whim when speaking to this girl. How do you know of it? And surely you jest. Don't you think I, of all people, would know if that were the name of one of the 7 sages under the shade of my tree? Don't you claim to know the Grove's past like the back of your hand?
It seems you've lost even the memories seared into your soul. Use your head, Circes. Since all of this took place in the realm of the dead, it stands to reason their likenesses are of souls from the past. The living cannot step foot into that world, so who could they be? Think about Calypso. Why does she share your likeness, yet you have no idea who she is? The answer is evident, is it not? Those fallen heroes are the mortal incarnations of the Titans before their ascensions to godhood. The gods aren't master creators born out of thin air, and they are no different from humans, because they all evolved from one. Does this answer disappoint you?
Yes, because you've answered nothing. If I truly was once human, as you claim, then where do the children of humanity come from?
Even on the off chance that you speak the truth, this brings us no closer to grasping Thanatos' whereabouts. How are we to find them?
I knew you would say that. But it matters not. I know what I'm doing. Actually, why don't we have this supreme being standing before us tell us everything?
You can revive a Titan?
Humans cannot return from the dead. Neither can gods. But all we need to do is look at this from a different perspective, and the problem will resolve itself. The solution is simple. Just like what you did to me. If I'm reborn as Kefali, I can rebuild the world and all within it as they once did. Simple, is it not?
I have news from Hyacinth and Danheng. Anaxa might be trying to do something with Kefali's divine body.
Kefali? But what could Anaxa want? Is the Council of Elders going to sit around and let such a sacrilegious act unfold?
That is not possible. He is indeed the great performer, capable of fooling anyone and everyone with his tricks.
I'm sorry.
No need for guilt, for this is good news to us. The Council of Elders has found themselves a traitorous ally. Anaxa's ambitious desires will be something we can exploit. What we should be doing now is to keep our eyes peeled for whichever trickery Kainis is up to, and react accordingly to thwart her plans. Being Akima's political center, the Demigod Council holds just as much significance as the Vortex of Genesis. Someday, after my duty is over, this site will take the place of the battlefield where you hunt gods, become the next challenge you ought to overcome. Till then, it's best to get used to this place as soon as possible.
preposterous! The Christos heirs only have their standing because of the Council of Elders! How dare they trample over it!
It's been a while. What is that supposed to mean? Is this really the sort of person that the young lord praised as a ferocious warrior?
It has indeed been some time, Lord Kratos. What brings you here in such haste?
Shh, keep it down. Be more vigilant. See those duplicitous dogs over there? They do the dirty work for kindness. I've already ordered my people to hold them back, but we should still lay low. Unless you're itching for a bloody fight to get a workout in.
My bad. So, did something happen?
Did you hear thunderclaps last night? Thunderclaps are beacon signals of strife. They are a message from the young lord. He threw a spear bearing several words at Akama.
Watch out. The Flame Reaver is back.
I guessed as much. We didn't actually kill them back at the Kremnos Arena.
I figured this is something you would want to know. We Kremnoans never back down from a fight. So if you plan to take that thing down in a battle, reach out to me anytime.
You have my gratitude. I will let Aglaya know about this right away.
Remind her to be on her toes while you're at it. That vicious kindness has been unusually active lately. Those lackeys she keeps undercover have been going in and out of the city a lot more frequently these days. Some even seem to be getting Kremnoans to defect to the council.
How dare you! Don't place that!
That's her.
Looks like you can see it for yourself.
We should get back. Thank you for the intel, Lord Kratos.
Is that all?
By Catholic into Lenten above, as the Theoros, I have observed.
Aglaya, what happened here?
I know about the poisonous fangs of that king snake through the golden threads. In the past, I would be confident about keeping her in check, but I admit I am now unable to do so.
What do you mean?
It is no longer about eloquence or arguments. I have been a demigod for far too long that I hardly have any humanity left. Before I realized it, I have become no different from these hypocrites, no longer capable of relating to the people. This has come a lot sooner than I expected. But perhaps it is time. I need you to step up, Finan, in order for me to retreat behind the scenes.
Yes, this is my duty, but...
It is far easier for the Council of Elders to fool many than just fool one person. Their so-called more support is no more than a ruse to distribute power using words instead of lances. There is no glory in winning this debate, but that makes having respect for humans so much more priceless. Finan, you are a Chrysos heir without flaw, capable of relating deeply with humans.
I appreciate what you've taught me, Aglaya. I hope we'll live up to your expectations and win this debate.
Oh, you've done well, Lord Calictus. Let me take over and personally close this debate for today. Dearest counselors, let it be known that I sorely miss the blissful times portrayed in lyrical poems. Back then, Amphoreus was home to nearly 1,000 cities, each with their own local faith, while gods walked the earth and shared close bonds with humans. Yet, in the present, people from all over are forced to leave their homeland to seek refuge in the holy city, where they hope to rest under Kethely's protection. All of us have long been in the same boat, with no way out of this plight. We didn't have a choice in the past, but now, the Council of Elders brings to the table a new possibility. All I have left is one question for you. Would you rather strive toward the unheard of Era Nova, or return to the prosperous Era Chrysia of our past? Make your choice. Now, which of the two would lead mortals to an ideal future?
We all know that Era Chrysia is a thing of the past, Lady Kainas. Please, enlighten me. How does the Council of Elders plan to turn back time?
Let the 3 Titans of Calamity be born, and Era Chrysia is nevermore. But bring demise to those Titans, and Era Chrysia will descend upon us again. Know that the Council of Elders is never one to make empty promises. Look at who we have on our side. Anaxagoras, one of the Grove's 7 sages, and Castorus, Idonia's goddess of death. With the help of these 2 heroes, I can promise all of you that Era Chrysia will exist once more.
Aren't they Chrysos heirs? They're supporting the Council of Elders instead?
It's clear from the start that these heroes do not get along well in their group. All the more proof that Aglaya isn't fit to speak on behalf of every Chrysos heir. I am in favor of Era Chrysia.
Era Chrysia! Era Chrysia!
Era Chrysia!
Era Chrysia! Era Chrysia! Era Chrysia! Era Chrysia!
Castorus? Why are you standing over there?
You finally arrived, Naxa. So have you, Cass.
Don't worry, Aglaya. Well, I know that you have many queries. Could you continue to converse like how the citizens normally do? Tell me, dear citizens, If we successfully retrieve and return Thanatos' core flame without anyone passing the Death Titan's trial, what would happen next?
The answer is simple. We will have a chance to rid the world of death and bring Amphoreus back to an era when all beings live forever. We'll usher in a new future that will be entirely different from the flame chase journey.
He's one of the 7 sages. That's impossible.
I really believe
Your proposal is much too idealistic. As long as the Black Tide still exists, how can we go back to the old days?
Remember what I previously said? Kefali's core flame is guarded by the secret power of the Council of Elders. Plus, Fagusa's water curtain will be able to block out any external perceptions. Tell me, dear citizens, have any of you ever seen even a glimpse of the threat that this person is talking about anywhere within the walls of this majestic holy city?
Oh. Could it be that you heard that from the Flame Reaver themselves? Citizens, let's loudly sing the blessed hymn. Oh, beautiful old world, where are you now? Oh, legendary Erachrysia, return to the mortal realm!
After the destruction of the 3 Titans of Calamity, the Flame Chase journey will have to end.
Erachrysia! Yes! Yes! It has to end! It has to end! It has to end! It has to end!
This is bad. The masses are now totally riled up.
Anaxa, pray tell. Everything that you've mentioned hinges on the premise that we can find Thanatos' existence, right?
Thank you, Lady Aglaya, for still caring about this city. However, dear citizens, we are truly fortunate and blessed. For Castorus, Idonia's goddess of death, will surely find Thanatos under my guidance.
What?
With that, I solemnly promise that the core flame Lady Castorus brings back will be personally managed by the Council of Elders. Thereafter, if we are able to garner the support of all of you at the Citizens' Assembly, we shall spare no effort in ensuring that the Erachrysia will return to our world once again.
With the balance shattered, the result is clear. By Kefali and Enlighten above, as the Theoros I have observed. Akama has chosen her destiny. The issue up for discussion at this Citizens' Assembly shall be modified to the suspension of the Flame Chase journey. This resolution shall be put up on the Wall of Heroes, such that all citizens are aware of the city's way forward.
Yeah, I like this. Fantastic. Yes.
Aglaya, dear Aglaya, what has caused your heart to soften? You also don't seem to be as quick-witted as before.
Wag your tongue as much as you like. Since the Flame Chase journey has been preordained by the prophecy, our failure has never been on the cards.
Well then, I guess we'll find out if that's true at the Citizens' Assembly.
Well, it seems that when I sent you to look for Anaxa, I unintentionally facilitated your partnership with him instead.
My apologies, everyone. I know that you have many questions to ask me. I will answer them to the best of my knowledge.
In that case, please tell us as much as you can.
In actuality, he showed me a past that was both long and heavy.
The reason I say this is as I've mentioned earlier. The answer was hidden in my journey unto death.
Anaxa, you were in the Netherrealm?
Yes, I am but a living dead man now. But that's not important. What truly matters is, I overheard a conversation between heroes.
Have you heard of this tale before? A tale about the ocean god's treasured pearl, our hometown. It was a seaside town which enjoyed the ocean breeze and glorious, peaceful times, thanks to the wisdom of its ruling queen. Until one day, an evil dragon descended upon the town. Its wings were large enough to blot out the sun, while its claws were sharp enough to rip the waves apart. It barged into the tall tower and devoured the queen's beloved daughter. It even settled itself in her bedroom, like a tyrant king. The queen assembled 300 warriors who managed to subdue the evil dragon by chaining it up. However, when the queen slit open the dragon's belly, she realized that the princess had long since been digested, and all that was left of her was a pile of bones. Devastated, the queen wept for several days. It was then that a devious, smooth-talking scholar arrived at the palace and suggested that the princess could be revived through the use of dragon bone and dragon blood. That liar called this process the secret art of alchemy. The princess was reborn! The queen was overjoyed, blissfully unaware that the evil dragon's soul still lurked within the princess's body. As revenge, the evil dragon swallowed the poor queen, the glib liar, the courageous warriors, and all of the town's innocent civilians in a single gulp. Worse still, the souls of the deceased refused entry to the Netherrealm because they were filled with regret. Forced to roam the mortal realm, these resentful souls ultimately converged into a river of souls that would not retreat for a long time. The terrifying death had consumed all. Thereafter, our hometown fell into ruin as well. Until... Actually, I don't know what happened next either.
Oh my... It seems that you still like to whet people's appetites even after all this time, Pelixia. So, according to your story, this is how I used to look? It's practically a mirror image. And yet, what exactly is this?
A miracle that I created with alchemy. As for what it is and how I was able to accomplish it, I'll keep the answers to myself for now.
Oh, my goodness. Is this cliffhanger really necessary?
Quiet, Titan. Continue to enjoy this splendid play, and the truth will naturally reveal itself.
Dragon, huh? I've heard this legend before.
In that case, what do you think of it?
I think that this so-called alchemy was a tenuous analogy added to the story by future generations. After all, you've never heard of a tradition of alchemy in your hometown before, have you?
Indeed. Before I left home to pursue my education, I never even knew that anybody was looking into this area of study.
Therefore, we can just treat this tale as a fable told to young children.
A fable, you say? If so, what moral is it trying to impart to the kids?
I guess it might be the concept of equivalent exchange?
Oh? I thought the moral might be closer to something like honor the dead.
Huh.
What? At a loss for words?
No, I merely realized that we're both thinking of the same principle. If life is priceless, then there is hardly anything else in this world that is of equal weight to it, right?
Indeed. As expected of the wisest scholar in the land.
You flatter me. Why don't I ask you a question as well, as a form of equivalent exchange?
Of course. What is your question?
If I imparted my knowledge of the art of alchemy to you, would you use it to resurrect someone you loved?
What? What kind of strange question is this? I got it. You're just trying to get me to tell you whether I like anyone, right?
Let's just leave it at that. That was rude of me.
Yes, I would.
Oh?
Death is inevitable. In the days to come, I'm certain that someone whom I cherish deeply will leave me for good. If such a mighty power really existed, I think I would use it without hesitation. After all, you, me, and the rest will all have to face that fateful moment eventually. My time is finally here. However, perhaps because of my firm belief in the immeasurable value of life, I am unable to complete the trial.
You shall wither, and through that, the dead will sprout again from the remains and be reborn with the dead flame. It is a pity that fate is such a cruel mistress.
Is there no other way of interpreting those words?
I'm afraid that the meaning is clear. Between my sister and me, one must pay the price. Our trial can only be completed when the one chosen sacrifices her life. I'm
afraid that the prophecy might even have selected a pair of twins for this exact purpose.
Fortune makes fools of us all.
My sister is prepared to sacrifice herself. And yet, I can't do the same. How absurd. My time is almost up, but I'm still afraid to welcome death. What should we do? If I'm ultimately not able to make up my mind...
Since Chaos is willing to guide all of us and leave this trial to the end, there is still plenty of time for you to ponder.
That's right. Don't allow the fog of an uncertain future to cloud your mind.
Trial, prophecy, the topics that they're discussing seem familiar. But these three people must not have left their names in the epics. Otherwise, I would have some recollection of this.
Amphoreus' history before the Titans were born was complete chaos. Is that not strange by itself? I have long held 3 hypotheses about this. However, let's continue watching for now.
Calypso, Polixia, and this warrior. I seem to have met him somewhere before.
Regarding this matter, Nias, are you confident that you'll complete your trial?
Of course. Though, I am worried about what will happen once I've emerged victorious.
Looks like you have made up your mind.
Yes, this is the safest course of action.
Completely separating courage, honor, tenacity, sacrifice, and reason. You really know how to make things difficult.
Please, young lady, witness my fall and demise. Lady Calypso, you shall host the soul-rending ceremony.
I do not understand. Why would you dare to sacrifice yourself for a future that you won't get to witness?
Because this is our destiny. The power that resides within me is so intense that I will one day be engulfed by it. Furthermore, a valorous death before glorious return has always been the path I chose to walk. A journey I began long ago. If your sister or Chaos were in my position, I believe they would make the same choice as well.
I'm not that brave. I don't know how I'm supposed to face such a serious affair.
Despite being Death's chosen one, it seems you still don't know how to face it. Let's chat, young lady. Perhaps I shouldn't end my journey so hastily. Since there's still time, I'm not worried about letting fate wait a little longer.
Of course. This warrior is Lord Nias. As the embodiment of Nikador's divinity, he entrusted his life to us and allowed humankind to end his madness. that what I'm currently seeing before my eyes is, in fact...
Looks like one hypothesis of mine has already been proven true. These heroes are the true forms of the Titans, before they attain their divinity. If so, the chosen one of death that he speaks of is actually...
Polixia? Is the previous form of Thanatos? But her appearance...
If this is true, as long as we can find out where she went, we'll naturally be able to figure out the location of the Death Titan.
But before that, we first need to witness what ultimately happened to Lord Anias.
Courage, tenacity, sacrifice.
And finally, the only thing that remains is reason.
Cheer up, young lady. There is no need to shed tears over a glorious death.
All farewells in this world are sorrowful, Lord Nias.
No, young lady. As a warrior, I have witnessed too many bitter deaths. But now, all I feel is peace. I did not know until this moment that mortals could live their lives in such a way.
Although only a sliver of your soul remains, you remain so optimistic. Or maybe the truth is that you aren't able to feel sorrow anymore.
To be honest, I don't know either. But I am certain of one thing. This is not an acceptance of death nor apathy toward it. It's not even a feeling of despair. I am just enjoying what remains of my life to the fullest.
Enjoying?
Indeed. Along this journey that we've taken together, not only have I changed the world, I myself have also changed in the process. And now I have reached the journey's end. When I look back and see the grand epic that I've personally written, how could I not revel in that fact?
But when you depart the mortal realm, won't all of your accomplishments be reduced to nothing? Separation and death are two sides of the same coin. Reconciling this doesn't come easily for a mortal.
Finally, let me recount to you a story of mine, young lady. The first time I returned from the battlefield, I felt extremely hollow. The calamity had devoured everybody on the battlefield but me. When I returned to the city alone, the citizens held a banquet for me that was far from pleasant. I felt as though I was still on the battlefield, and the person who had returned was nothing but an empty shell. It was late into the night by the time the banquet ended. My head still reeling, I returned alone to the barracks. On the way back, I encountered someone. It was a crazed scholar looking at the night sky and muttering to himself by the side of the road. Although I tripped over him and fell, I wasn't angry in the slightest. And maybe because I saw myself in him, I inexplicably asked him a question. Do you think that it'd be better if we just died on the roadside like a couple of stray dogs? To my surprise, he shrugged his shoulders and sighed.
To someone who is currently experiencing death, dying and living afford the same amount of bliss. Now please go away and don't block my starlight.
Are you trying to say that there is no difference between living and dying? For they are both journeys that lead toward death?
That's exactly what life is, and death is, but a scale to measure how valuable the journey was. Journeys and epics are only glorious and magnificent because all things eventually fade to dust. Therefore, young lady, don't detest your fate. Instead, willingly and respectfully embrace it.
The embodiment of strife telling me about the majesty of the world.
Indeed. I believe that when the fated moment eventually arrives, you will be able to understand my words. It is time for me to knock on death's door. I will set up a long table at the end of the road and humbly await your arrival. When that moment finally comes, let us drink and be merry then.
I knew this day would eventually come.
Are the both of you ready?
Polixia. I'm here. What? This...
This is quite interesting indeed.
Is this... Polixia's sister? Is it... me? Now, it's time for us to fulfill our promises. Are you afraid? What are you afraid of? That I won't be able to do it. You shall wither, and through that, the dead will sprout again from the remains, and be reborn with the dead flame. As foretold in the prophecy, and according to our vows, once it all ends, we must face our fated moment head-on. Even if it was prophesied, do we have no say in the matter? It's so unfair. Why are we the only ones who are forced into mutual destruction? Let me do it, sister. Let me be death's sacrifice. I was never long for this world anyway. But you're different. I was the one who wasted your life after all. You're wrong, Polixia. I don't think that my life was wasted. Just the opposite. When I finally arrived at this destination and looked back at the journey I took, I
I discovered that flowers had long since bloomed along the path I walked. It was you who sowed the seeds for this sea of flowers, one that is more beautiful than the promised land at the end of the world. Besides, I have lived a fulfilling life. Even though I was fated for sacrifice, none of the things that I've experienced will dissipate. Instead, they'll forever live on as memories inside your head. Will they not?
How could my memories of you ever compare to the actual you?
Well then, tell me, what exactly are we?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But regardless of what the answer is, regardless of how we're shaped by others, or even by this world, ever since we were born, the fact that we existed was predestined, and nothing could erase it. This is why I will always, always be by your side. We're twins, after all. All right, my dear Polixia. It's time to extract my heart and light the flame of death. After that, use it to plant the first bud in the prophesied new world.
If I imparted my knowledge of the art of alchemy to you, would you use it to resurrect someone you loved?
Death is inevitable. In the days to come, I am certain that someone whom I cherish deeply will leave me for good. If such a mighty power really existed, I think I would use it without hesitation. Even now, my answer remains the same. This is why, sister, I promise you, in the prophesied new world, I shall plant the first bud on your behalf. Go now. Return to the ocean god's treasured pearl, our hometown. I shall open wide the entrance to the Netherrealm and grant you a second life. The living beings on this earth shall respond to my call and lead you to the sacred daylight. Remember, do not look back on the land of the dead, and do not stop moving. In the new world promised by the prophecy, march toward your new life. As for the price of our equivalent exchange, let me be the one to pay it.
Everybody, we've come to the end. Unfortunately, I am not compatible with the Supreme Being, so I was unable to completely fuse their soul into my own body. However, being able to glean all this from them is exciting enough. I'm certain of this now. Before the Titans that we are well acquainted with were born, a group of heroes roamed the land. These heroes followed a prophecy and took possession of divine authorities one by one, until they eventually became the pantheon of the New World. Just like the flame chase journey of today, Amphoreus' history is cyclical in nature.
Huh. What a startling revelation. This means that the demigods, who bear the core flames, will also become the new Titans at the world's end, thereby shaping a new world?
I believe that this is the truth behind the Era Nova as mentioned in the prophecy.
This is utterly unbelievable. Besides, those twins in the past, even if they really are Thanatos, their whereabouts are still unknown even today.
Are their whereabouts truly unknown? Didn't Polixia mention that seaside town, the birthplace of alchemy in the tale of the dragon? In our world, there exists a city which perfectly matches that description. Styxia.
But the people there worship Vagusa and bear no relation to Thanatos. I have also never been to that place, as in the time of Idonia, it had long turned into underwater ruins.
Take this.
This is...
the new Sporist masterpiece, the Philosopher's Stone. It was made by transmuting all of the sages' wisdom into a single entity, with their flesh and blood as its foundation. Remember, I've mentioned before that the art of alchemy is all about conversion, tempering, and ascension. This process also applies to the pursuit of truth. Regardless of how unbelievable this sounds, the truths of the world have been refined from the impurities. Think about the story of the dragon. This stone will lead you to your real hometown, allowing you to reform the door to the Netherrealm and discover Thanatos' fate.
You still look as confident in your victory as ever. But what if your conjecture is wrong?
Simple. I shall merely admit to the entire world that my experiment was a failure. However, my line of thinking will not fail because I have already planted the seeds of doubt into the hearts of the masses. Actions speak louder than words, Castorus. With the assembly about to begin, don't forget the promise you've made.
I have already searched for so long. I'm willing to try one more time. While we converse, his life is also slowly slipping away. But before I leave, I have another question. What exactly did we witness just now?
That was the world imprinted in Kefali's soul. If we are to prove its existence, you must take the final step. Go. Do not disappoint me.
I understand.
Hey, child of humanity.
Don't get antsy. I still remember the question you posed to me. As a scholar, I do not wish to offer up ambiguous conclusions. Let's discuss this topic again when she manages to find the evidence.
I merely wanted to ask, was that stone transmuted from your heart? If so, rebirth is no longer an option for you.
Why not? When I was a child, I lost someone dear to me. When I was a teenager, I lost my faith. A while back, although you saved my life, I also lost my soul in the process. Now I'm merely forsaking my body. What's the big deal?
Why are you always finding ways to die? Isn't it good to be alive?
This is but a necessary sacrifice on my path to transform into the purest of them all.
Can someone who's dead even claim to be the purest of them all? Furthermore, if your hypothesis is proven correct, does it not just confirm that the myths are true, and thereby invalidate all your theories?
No, it's just the opposite. If my hypothesis is correct, it means that I can actually ascend to godhood and reshape this absurd world that you all have created.
That's a lot to take in at once.
Lady Aglaia, please, let me explain.
Go on.
You know that the core flame of death has always been the greatest unknown regarding the Era Nova, which is why both you and Kindness desire to gain the power to control that core flame in the approaching Citizens' Assembly. Professor Anaxa has come to a consensus with Kindness. They want to suspend the trial once Thanatos' core flame is reclaimed, hoping thus to eradicate death from this world. If they're successful, then the flame chase journey will cease, and Akama can enjoy everlasting peace. But I know this runs counter to your wishes. So long as we do not usher in Era Nova, the Black Tide will never be eradicated. Even with Lord Mighty on the front line, and the Black Tide not posing an immediate risk, the danger nevertheless remains. Honestly, it's difficult for me to assess the pros and cons in this decision. But someone must bring the core flame before we can begin negotiations over it. The Titan could be very near. I cannot let this chance slip by. Besides, someone has to make this trip to bring back Mr. Soul.
Well said. You already had every reason to seek an audience with Thanatos. It's that great performer who has weaponized your wishes and placed us in this difficult situation. A world without death. Do you desire that too?
If fate dictates that my path must oppose yours, I will do all I can to resist it and protect what I aspire to achieve. Lord Mighty showed me that without taking the first step, all talk of what follows is moot.
I have always hoped to hear you speak your mind, Cass. And I am glad to have heard your true thoughts. Styxia. I visited that place in the past. Though it is now an island surrounded by the river of Soul's torrents, it's not hard to see its former splendor. Go. I will not stand in your way. As for you, you are someone who has cheated death. I believe you have more than enough reason to make the trip with Casterus and meet the god of death himself. Casterus, I too look forward to your journey. I wonder what kinds of new interpretations your completed story will bring to the Flame Chase journey.
Thank you, Lady Aglaia.
I hate to put a damper on this heartwarming moment, but
If Styxia is now an island surrounded by the river of Soul's torrents, then how do we find a way in? Lady Trebe is probably...
The answer is quite simple. In the Mids, Zagreus once made the domain of the dead their treasure vault. That is to say, they could enter and leave the Netherrealm as they pleased. And if they could do that, then it follows that the demigod who inherited their divinity must be capable of the same. I'll see you at Memorial Palace at Action Hour tomorrow. Cypher shall be your guide to finding that ancient city.